Secret School Group, we are on our last chapter. Do you think Ida will pass her exam? So let's check. Chapter 18. The week following the exam was nerve-wracking time for Ida. She found staying home extremely difficult, but at least there were always things that had to be done. The worst part was worrying over the exam results. Ida could barely wait for the end of each day. Then she and Felix would drive about a mile down the road to check their battered mailbox, one in a line of 7 for those families living at the head of Elk Valley. For 6 days, when Ida and Felix arrived, the red mailbox flag was down. Then, exactly 1 week after the day of the exam, the flag was up. "They're here!" Ida screamed at Felix as they drew close. "Clutch! Brake!" The car skittered and backfired to a stop. Not waiting for Felix, Ida untied the door, leaped out, and raced to the box. Inside were 2 pale tan envelopes, each one addressed in an elegant, scrolling hand. One was for Miss Ida Bidson, the other for Master Felix Bidson. Handing Felix his envelope, Ida tore open her own. Inside was a printed form with parts filled in by hand. This certifies that Ida Bidson, age 14, a resident of the town of Elk Valley of Routt County, state of Colorado, has completed the course of study with honors prescribed for common schools and is entitled to enter high school at Steamboat Springs for the year beginning September 1925. Yours truly, Miss Gertrude Sedgwick, County Examiner. There was yet a second piece of paper with another note. "Dear Miss Bidson, I'm happy to inform you that all of your students, except Herbert Bixler, completed their exams with varying degrees of success. Congratulations. Gertrude Sedgwick, County Examiner." "I passed!" Ida screamed. "Most everyone passed!" "Did I?" asked Felix as he studied his paper intently. "You sure did," Ida assured him. "Did Herbert?" Ida shook her head. "How come?" "I don't think he wanted to," Ida said. She looked at her papers again. Only then did she notice there was yet a third piece of paper in the envelope, on which a note was written. "My dear Ida, I have been most impressed by you and what you have done these past weeks. If you would take care to take board in my Steamboat Springs home when you attend high school in the fall, I would be happy to have you. It would cost your parents nothing. You may consider it a scholarship. G.S." "Felix," Ida said breathlessly. "What?" "I think I'm going to high school!" Last day exercises were held a week later in the one-room schoolhouse. The students had bedecked it with flowers. The ceremonies, over which Mr. Jordan presided, began outside with the raising of the flag. Then everyone trooped inside. At the last moment, even Herbert appeared, without shoes, but with a grin. One by one, the students, youngest to oldest, went to the front of the room to recite. There were poems, excerpts from famous orations, speeches from Shakespeare. To Ida's delight, Herbert recited his Caesar speech, and other bits and pieces from literature, all from their readers. Interspersed were songs sung by all the children. Finally, each student, except Herbert, was handed a certificate of promotion, then given a handshake from the members of the school board. Ida was the last one to be called. As she stepped up to receive her diploma, Mr. Jordan cleared his throat. In addition to graduating from 8th grade with honors, he said, "Miss Ida Bidson, who acted as our school teacher, deserves special recognition. I guess," he cleared his throat, "we can all see that." The adults applauded. The children cheered. "And here's hoping," Mr. Jordan continued, "she'll go on to become a real teacher, then come back to work here at this same school." Herbert shouted out, but you'll have to pay for her then. After the laughter died down, Susie, in new shoes and a new dress made just for the occasion, concluded the ceremony by singing Amazing Grace. Then everyone headed outside for refreshments. A trestle table had been set up, and people had brought enough food and lemonade to feed the whole valley. After filling her plate, Ida noticed Herbert standing alone away from the crowd. She went up to him. "Well, it's Miss Bidson," he said. "Herbert Bixler, did you fail that exam on purpose?" she asked. "Hey, I told you, I'm dumb." "You are not. You just didn't want to get your father mad, did you?" Herbert shrugged. "If you want to know, I've made up my mind what I'm going to do." "What's that?" "When I get old enough, I'm going on down to Denver to join the Navy." "The Navy?" "Sail the 7 seas." "Did you tell your father?" "Nope, you're the only one who knows." "And I guess you figure never to come back?" "I don't know, maybe I will. Depends who's around." "Herbert Bixler," said Ida, "this may have been a secret school, but you're the biggest secret of all." Herbert looked at her. She wished she knew what he was thinking, but then he turned around and walked away. Still, she was looking after him when Tom sidled up. "Hey, Miss Bidson," he said, "thanks for being our teacher." "You're welcome," Ida managed to say. "Thanks for the idea in the first place." "Yeah, but now it's all over, do you know what I like most about it?" "No." "I can call you Ida again, all the time." "I like that." "Hey, Ida," he said with a grin. "Want some lemonade?" "Do you, Tom?" "Sure as aces." "We're really proud of you, Ida," her mother said as the family drove home. "Real proud," Mr. Bidson agreed. "Only thing is, you've got some serious work cut out for you this summer." "Why?" Ida said, slightly alarmed. "Well, you're going to high school in the fall, right? Boarding with Miss Sedgwick? That means we'll be losing a strong pair of hands. The more work you get done this summer, the easier it's going to be for the rest of us when you go." "Get Tom up here," Felix shouted. "He'll do anything for Ida." Mr. and Mrs. Bidson laughed. Ida's face turned red, but she smiled and looked out the window as though it were dark outside. All she could see was brightness.